Gabrielle Dennis is one of the stars of a Black Lady sketch show. I'm Kevin Jacobsen of Gold Derby here with Gabrielle, and I'd like to just start by asking, you're not a writer on this show like some of your castmates, but I'm curious if there was a sketch in season 2 that felt so suited to your skills that it feels like you had written it.
Oh, um, one of my favorites was the age Aunt Nothing But a Number. It was just very like taking like something from real life and like putting it on its head and just making it bigger and more magical. So I thought it was so funny because I think it triggered a lot of people. And it's like, she's celebrating her big 40th and no, she's only turning 35. And it was just
35,
like,
yeah.
wait, I'm 35 and I'm already an auntie, and it's just so funny to like see how quickly we can turn. And some of us, people have been saying, well, I've been an auntie apparently since I've been 19. So some of us just have that old soul, that old spirit. And I just think it was just very funny to kind of see how that played out and like how desperate she was to just hold on to those perks and those perks that she still had in her. Nobody wants to age, but it's fine when you do it with a magical fairy aunt mother.
Yes, indeed. Well, you had a bit of a new dynamic this year with Quinta Brunson not able to come back for season 2. But you had these 2 new cast members with Lacey Mosley and Sky Townsend. What did the 2 of them give you as castmates as far as bouncing off of them?
Oh, lots of energy, lots of youthfulness, lots of like big moments. And they brought this energy of excitement. Like, it just kind of felt like our first day back last season. And they just brought this newness, this freshness. And it was a lot of fun to see how excited they were with like the ability to, I know Sky's favorite thing was to be able to add to her character as far as the looks and have input on that. And she was just like, I've never been a part of a show like this. So it was really exciting to see another person experience what we experienced and like looking at ourselves kind of basically seeing what we were going through. So they just brought a lot of energy, a lot of fun, and a lot of big moments.
Yeah, for sure. And we have to talk about your great recurring character, Elisa, who is the leader of the Coral Reefs gang. And we see this sketch this season of the gang at a retreat, getting some self-care. And your physicality in that sketch and in those sketches is just wild. How did you find the voice and the gestures for that character, like in the beginning?
The funny thing is, when I first moved to LA, I was at the DMV getting my driver's license, and there was a guy. I'm assuming he was gang affiliated, but he literally sat and walked and stood in first position the entire time. So I have a dance background, so I immediately noticed his feet. I was like, the dedication to how that pivot of his feet is, and he never let it go. Like he stood that way, he sat that way, he walked that way, and I thought it was so cool. And I remember back doing stand up, like I would reference that a few times. So when this opportunity came up, it wasn't specific as far as to where we were located or anything like that. It just, I don't know, it just came to me. And with that voice came the physicality because as a dancer, former dancer, definitely very much so retired, but like having that turnout and like committing to that thing and then just it kept elevating and doing things that I didn't even intend to do or knew that I even knew how to still do. Like there's a time I fall into a split. We're ad-libbing at the end of the sketch. And I start thinking I'm just gonna go like into a deep lunge, and I literally just fall into a split. If you keep watching, you'll see East and myself like break at the end of that because it was totally not scripted, as are most of the things I do as far as the physical comedy on the show. But I set myself up because as soon as I do it, they're like, now you got to do it again. So
Mhm. Yeah, those sketches seem like the most fun to film,
so fun,
and
so fun. And
probably a lot of takes, I would imagine. So another sketch, which I thought was basically a masterclass, was you and Robin at the nail salon,
mm,
and just the speed of your dialogue and the voices you were using. It was like almost Shakespearean what you were able to accomplish there. How do you go about preparing for a sketch like that that's so wordy?
just learning those lines and like running it and running it and running it because it's more about it's less about the words, it's a lot about the rhythm as well. So it's almost like playing double dutch with her and finding those moments where we weren't just speeding through because there was definitely at the beginning when I first auditioned for it, I was just like, who can say the fastest? And it was kind of like that was the mission, but it was less of that and more of like, how do we find the rhythm where it just feels so natural, almost as if these people they don't skip a beat. Like they can have 3 different conversations going on within one, and that's the humor in it. So really just preparing for that was it was very stressful actually, because I had to shoot 2 that day, one that I wasn't initially scheduled to film. So I had like a lot of pressure on me. And like that one in particular, I had already was worried about that one because you don't want to mess up that tape, because it's like once that rhythm goes, you don't want to be the person that stops it. But it was fun because it was Robin, and she and I have a really good chemistry and like that back and forth. So it's always fun to play with her, with all the girls, but like with her in particular, because our relationship and friendship goes back so far. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Well, talking about Lacey and Sky, but having done 2 seasons now with Robin Thede and Ashley Nicole Black, how would you describe that bond that the 3 of you guys have together?
We're totally sisters. Like going from season 1 into season 2, how we are now, and like having survived this pandemic together, that adds a whole nother layer of this experience that we've had together. So we've been able to laugh through good times and bad. And we all are each other's like big fans of each other. Like we enjoy like watching each other, challenge each other on set. Yeah, they make me laugh. Like they are so talented, so brilliant. And the fact that they both are writers, like I can't even explain how much I'm in love with them and their talent. I think they're just brilliant, just brilliant.
They are indeed. And I always enjoy the interstitial scenes, which is this like ongoing saga where it's the end of the world, and that it's like you and the other women have survived and they're in this one location together. And considering you're all playing like these heightened versions of yourself in some ways, what are those days of filming like? Is that just chaos?
You know what? What's funny is with the interstitials, those are what we filmed first. So because it was a pandemic, and there's all these processes, like you get your testing and you do the questionnaires, and there's like real world happening before you even hit the stage. So for me as the resident germaphobe, it was very stressful that first week, because I was just like, what am I doing? Why don't I have a mask on? Like I don't feel sane right now. So like just kind of adjusting to that. And so there was that chaos of like just living and filming in this process. But also we're in the same wardrobe for like a week. And by the time I was like, I want to do a ceremonious burning of this blue leather jumpsuit, although it was adorable and I loved it. I was so tired of being in that outfit. But it just one of those things, we were ready to like, felt like we were at the starting gate, is how we always start the season with the interstitials. And we love doing them. But like by the end, we're like, let us loose. Like we're ready to go play, and like get us out in the playground and get to the sketches. Like that's when we really like get to have fun, because for me, it's just about the range, it's about the versatility. So with, like I said, being in one outfit for a whole week is like, I want to change, I want to do something different. But it is like it is a new thing every day, because I'm working with these girls who bring something fresh every day. So we have a lot of fun. And I will say it became art, life imitating art by the end of it, because I found myself drinking more wine during the pandemic, like my character.
Yeah, and I feel like also the fact that you want to like be more free is very fitting with the opening credits as well. By the end, that last episode, and you're just wanting to break free. But can you recall a sketch from season 2 where it just felt like, everything went right? There wasn't a lot of stress on set. Everyone was just firing on all cylinders, and just the atmosphere was, something about it was special.
I will say for sure one of the most special sketches to film is A Black Lady Courtroom, because to me it's quintessential a Black lady sketch show vibe. And because it was a returning sketch, because we had our lovely Yvette Nicole Brown back with us, because we were able to play Sky in there, and to have Ashley involved in the sketch this season. And there was something very, very special about it being the last sketch we filmed of that block. And it was just kind of like, woo. So it was like a celebration. Like we survived our first time filming in a pandemic, the first block. We made it to the end without any incident. So it was very celebratory. And then we were back where we left off last season in like this amazing scenario. And Issa's there. And yeah, it was just very celebratory. There was a lot of fun, a lot of improvisation, a lot of cartwheels and flips and busting in the splits that nobody asked me to do. But again, I set myself up. So that for me, the energy is very heightened on that one, because I feel like also we're very comfortable in that sketch, all of our characters that are coming back. So we're ready to go. And poor Laz Alonso, when he came to visit, he's just like, when I bust out in that cartwheel during a rehearsal, he's like, wait a minute, you guys are intense and crazy, and I love it here, but I'm gonna need a minute. He was like, I wasn't prepared for this. Like, you guys are having a blast. I was like, we are. Welcome to the party.
It's definitely infectious for the audience, I think. Well, on the flip side, what did you find there was a sketch that you found just surprisingly more difficult for whatever reason, either in terms of production or something wasn't right, something wasn't working right, or anything like that?
Not production wise, I can't think off the top of my head, but I know like physically for me, like filming, playing Elisa, I don't realize how physically in depth I am until I get home or like the next morning. Like every inch of my vertebrae was sore because like there's these moments where I have this thing and I lean back, like all the way back, or I fall into the splits, or I'm in that turnout this whole time, but like there's this run I have to figure out. So for me, by the end of that, I'm exhausted because like it's a lot of physicality and it's fun, but it was one of those more challenging ones because this season you actually saw the full picture, whereas before she was behind the podium, it was kind of very contained, a little more intimate. But they were like, you have free reign of this space. We shot in this beautiful space in Malibu, and it was just like free reign, like have fun on that grass. And for me, it was challenging in the sense of the physicality. It was very, very exhausting and tiring, but it was so rewarding because they gave me the freedom to just kind of explore and have fun with that character and to do things that I wasn't able to do last season. So, because you never saw my feet last season, but they were turned out. They were definitely turned out.
Yes. Good to know. There's so many great guest stars as always, like there was in season 1. Did you have just a great sort of pinch me moment getting to act against someone this season?
Oh yes. Kim Wayans. I literally went, I think I went, like I did like a yelp, like I literally like did a squeal of some sort when she came up and I was just so giddy. I was like, and you're trying to contain it. I did a horrible job of playing it off. It was horrible, but she was so sweet. She was so warm and down to earth, and she complimented all of us in our work. So it was just like, wait, what is happening? Kim Wayans knows me, and I get to play with her today, and she was so fun. And just watching her ad lib, like I think one of her ad libs for sure made it in the final cut. She's just, I don't know, she's just that. She was the Black lady doing sketch back then. And to be able to have that full circle moment from like watching her on A Living Color and to like stand next to her and film a sketch was just mind blowing. Like it was really like a full circle moment for sure in this space.
Well, how plugged in are you with the fan response after an episode drops? Do you enjoy that side of just seeing everyone's reactions, or do you like to, sort of keep a distance?
No, I do. Well, they expect you to live tweet, and I love it. Our fans are so like on top of it. One of the cutest things that happens is people love that gang orientation, the gang retreat. They're like, Elisa treats her employees better than any job I've ever worked. She's intense, but the company benefits, my lord, and they're just like sending applications and pitching why they should be part of the show. Part of the gang. So they're very involved, and I love that people say they watch this episode more than once. Like they love to watch it again on the Saturday morning, and just really they have to watch it a couple of times just to kind of really absorb all of the nuances and stuff. So they're like very technical the way they describe things. Like our fans are in it, and I love how much they appreciate what we're doing because it is a lot of hard work. People think comedy, half hour, but we're literally shit. We're literally. Oh, I think I cursed. We're literally shooting several short films as far as the production quality and the time that we invest into it. So there's a lot that goes into those 6 episodes. And I love when people can appreciate all the little moments from everything from what we do on camera, but also what they get to see of the work that people off camera do, from the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe, the lighting, the editing, the music. Everybody gets love from our fans. And I love that, like, because everybody deserves it. Like everybody works so hard on the show.
Yeah, I talked to Robin a few days ago, actually, and she mentioned like, yes, we only do 6 episodes a year, but it's 28 minutes basically per episode. And there's just so much that goes into it that, you got to appreciate it. And I did also want to talk about last year with the Emmys, where you got nominated for Best Variety Sketch Series, and Angela Bassett for Guest Actress, and your director, Dive Davis, was nominated even. Can you take us back to that day of, finding out about those nominations, and especially getting the sketch series nomination, where you were up against SNL and Drunk History, these very well established shows. Here you are in your first year right out the gate with a nomination.
I mean, it was very unexpected for me, only because I'm not in the HBO space. I'm not Robin, where I'm like focused on like making sure those things are like, we're leading up to that. So when it happened and it dropped, I was like, whoa, this is huge. Like, we're just new, we're babies, like we're preemies, like, what's going on? So when that happened, I was over the moon, especially for Dime, because I thought she did such a brilliant job. On a show that didn't exist before. We were one of a kind and still are one of a kind and first of its kind. So to be recognized, to be appreciated by our peers, and to get that fresh out the gate was just amazing. And it makes you want to work harder the next season. But it's also was just like, wow, like look at what we did, and I was so proud of Robin. I'm sure she cried and bawled. I hope she did, because I almost did, a couple of times, but it was just very exciting to say. Now I'm like, after all these years, look at that, I'm part of an Emmy nominated sketch comedy show. Like, sketch comedy brought me here, of all things. So yeah. It's been a blast, and it's nothing short of just grateful and like so appreciative of the time and the moment that I get to be a part of this show. Like, I'm honored to be a future alumni of this show. Like, I hope it continues to grow and find new talent and exploit us all, like use us, because we have so much fun, and Robin's so gracious of allowing us to tap into all of our talent. And she believes in it. I just talked to her, she's like, and you have so much more to show, and we're going to make sure it happens in season 3. I'm like, cool, whatever you say,
wow. I love that. Well, before I let you go, this TV season, you were also in some episodes of The Upshaws, which is a new Netflix show, for those who don't know, with Wanda Sykes, Mike Epps, Kim Fields, more legends. What was it like being on that set in particular?
It was a lot of fun, because I feed off of like energy and like chaos. And at the time, I was rehearsing for Black Lady Sketch Show and filming that show. So we were, blocks away from each other. So I was literally running from one stage to the next, one studio to the next. But I was so grateful that they allowed me to do that. So it was just a lot of fun to kind of go into this space of sitcom, which I grew up loving sitcoms, and kind of sitcoms kind of went away for a while, and then they're trying to make a comeback. And what I love about this show is it gives me that nostalgia of like the sitcoms that I grew up on, with a little fresh take on it, because they be cussing. So that's the fresh, more modern take. But I think it's just so great Wanda Sykes, Kim Fields, like these are women that I've aspired and admired for ages, so it's just beautiful. And they're so, good Lord, they're so kind and so genuine and so nice. I remember there was a post that Kim Fields made about me and about like my talent and how great she loved working with me. And I was like, what is that? What? That is it speaks volumes to the type of person she is and the environment that I was working in. It was so family oriented. I literally felt like I was a part of a family, and I can't wait. Like, I hope I get to go back, because I had an amazing time. There wasn't a lot of pressure either, because I wasn't the star of the show, like I just got to go and have fun, and they let me play, and it was amazing. And I'm so happy for the show that it's doing well and people are enjoying it. So I hope they get a season 2.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a big thrill. Well, for those of you watching, subscribe for more interviews and head to goldderby.com to make your Emmy predictions. Gabrielle, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.